Good morning. Happy Tuesday. So today is March 31st. Yesterday, many of you logged in successfully, and that's awesome. You did a great job. It's very important every day. Please complete attendance. As soon as you wake up, look at your post, look at the main screen, go ahead and look at your assignments, check your assignments, look at your grades. I will always give feedback for anything you submit. So when you click on an assignment and you go back to the original submission, when you click on it, you're going to be able to view feedback from either myself or Mrs. Gaines. So with that being said, we are starting Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. And I shouldn't be saying starting because I know you did start reading this book in the beginning of the school year, but you didn't finish it. So I will honestly say that this is probably one of my favorite read alouds. I've always read this book with my students. I actually teach a USF class, an online class at USF for future educators. And in one of our modules, I require my students to read this book. So that's why it's probably one of the many reasons I love the book. But it's about this girl, and it's a memoir, and a memoir similar to a biography or an autobiography, but you're writing about your own life, but in a different perspective. So it's the way the story is written. I'm actually reading right now, next to my bed, is a memoir. I'm reading The Glass Castle. So this is a book that I am reading by Jeanette Walls, and they actually turned this into a movie. So I want to watch the movie after I read this, but it's also a memoir. So the author wrote about her life, and she wrote about her struggles growing up. Part of it is, there's painful experiences to read because you're reading about somebody's life. And sometimes there's good experiences and there's bad experience. So this is one that I'm reading, and this is on my nightstand, and I'm on page 113. So I love it. I'll probably finish it in a couple days. But this is a memoir of Jacqueline Woodson. But what makes this so interesting is that it's written in the form of poetry. So I've never known another author to necessarily write a memoir, but in the form of a poetry. To me, it's brilliant writing. So it starts with, and right now, make sure you have the PDF downloaded. So have that downloaded. You can read along with me. I love how she says, "This book is for my family, the past, present, and the future, with love." That's sweet. So it talks about, it shows the family tree, which you have a copy of this as well. But it starts with Langston Hughes, and this is an assignment we're going to work on. But she took a poem from Langston Hughes, and it says, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field, frozen with snow." So we're going to come back to that. And we actually have an assignment we're going to do. We're taking this poem written by Langston Hughes, and we're going to compare it with Jacqueline Woodson's life and maybe how it contributed and helped her grow as an individual. So on page 1, and there's not necessarily chapters, but it has like part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 1 is I Am Born, and it starts with February 12th, 1963. I am born on a Tuesday at University Hospital, Columbus, Ohio, USA, a country caught between black and white. So right there, a country caught between black and white. She, as the author, Jacqueline, is letting you know there's a struggle, right? And there's a struggle with race. I am born not long from the time or far from the place where my great-great-grandparents worked in the deep, rich land, unfree, dawn till dust, unpaid, drank cool water from scooped-out gourds, looked up and followed the sky. Oh, I hope you don't see that. I'm getting messages on my phone. Let me mute that. Okay. Where was I? It says, drank cool water from scooped out gourds, looked up and followed the sky's mirrored consolation to freedom. I am born as the South explodes. Too many people, too many years, enslaved, then emancipated, which means they're free. But not free. The people who look like me keep fighting and marching and getting killed. And so today, February 12th, 1963, and every day from this moment on, brown children like me can grow up free, can grow up learning and voting and walking and writing wherever we want. I am born in Ohio, but the stories of South Carolina already run like rivers through my veins. And that right there, I want us to talk about. These stories run through her like rivers through her veins. On page 1, she's talking about how her family, they grew up as slaves. They were born into slavery. And even though they're free, are they truly free? Because people continue to fight. People continue to march. People are continuing to get killed. And here we are in 1963. And although slavery may not be anything that currently exists, because the slaves were emancipated, so they were free, why are they continuing to fight? Why are they continuing to march? And why are these things happening? So it's conversations that really make you think. But the rivers run through her like rivers through my veins. It's really powerful, isn't it? So right now, if you have anything next to you, I want you to stop and jot. What does that tell you? When these stories that she's told, they run through her like rivers through my veins. Because I remember my grandma, my grandpa always telling me stories, and some of them I've forgotten throughout the years, but that's always a big regret. I always wish I could remember all of those stories that they told me, so then I can pass on and I can tell my children. But yeah, think about that. Do a quick stop and jot and just think what that means to you, and what meaning that has. So on page 3 it says, second daughter's second day on earth. My birth certificate says female Negro. Imagine that, birth certificate saying female Negro. Mother, Mary Ann Irby, 22, Negro. Father, Jack Austin Woodson, 25, Negro. You wouldn't see that on my birth certificate, right? You wouldn't see that on your birth certificate. And this is 1963, right? In Birmingham, Alabama, Martin Luther King Jr. is planning a march on Washington, where John F. Kennedy is president. In Harlem, Malcolm X is standing on a soapbox, talking about a revolution. Outside the window of the University Hospital, snow is falling. So much already covers the vast Ohio ground. In Montgomery, only 7 years have passed since Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the city bus. So only 7 years have passed. I am born brown-skinned, black-haired, wide-eyed. I am born Negro and colored there and somewhere else. The Freedom Singers have linked arms. I like that. When you link arms, you come together, you join. Join their protest rising into song. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. And somewhere else, James Baldwin is writing about injustice, each novel, each essay changing the world. I do not know who I'll be or what I'll say or how I'll say it. Not even 3 years have passed since a brown girl named Ruby Bridges walked into an all-white school. Armed guards surrounded her while hundreds of white people spat on her and called her names. She was 6 years old. I do not know if I'll be strong like Ruby, and I do not know what the world will look like. When I'm finally able to walk, speak, write, another Buckeye, the nurse says to my mother. Already, I am being named for this place, Ohio, the Buckeye State. My fingers curl into fist automatically. This is the way, my mother said, of every baby's hand. I do not know if these hands will become Malcolm's raised and fisted, or Martin's open and asking, or James curled around a pen. I do not know if these hands will be Rosa's or Ruby's, gently gloved and fiercely folded, calmly in a lap, on a desk, around a book, ready to change the world. So right there at page 5, I want you to stop and think. She's saying to herself, I don't know if I'm going to be like Malcolm, raised and fisted, or Martin's open and asking, right? Or calm like Rosa and Ruby, fierce, fierce, ready to take charge. And when I think of Ruby Bridges, I think she's only 6 years old, innocent, sweet, right? So she's saying to herself, I don't know what I'm going to be. How can I change the world? What does that let you know? And if you have something to write down with, what does that tell you about Jacqueline Woodson as a person, as a human being? She's having this prolific conversation right now, and she's saying to herself, I don't know what I'm going to be like. Will I be like these amazing individuals who made change? But when you hear her saying those words, what does it make you think about her as a person? And jot that down. I want you to really think about that. I want you to go on and continue reading. So next would be A Girl Named Jack. And this talks about how Jacqueline got her name. It's interesting because my sister's Jackie. Her name is actually Jacqueline, but we call her Jackie. But it talks about how she received her name. There was an interesting battle between the mom and the dad, and why she did receive the name that she did. So it talks about how she's the Woodsons of Ohio. As we continue to read, it does get a little deep, and it is going to talk about her struggle and her parents and living with her grandparents and her mom, and it is going to get heavy, but I know we're ready for this. So continue reading. I will post another video tomorrow, and we'll try to do this daily and touch base. Remember, your attendance is your discussion post. So when I ask you a question about the book, that's also letting me know, yes, you read, but also I can take attendance. In addition to this, you'll also have other assignments. There'll be more time for kids' activities. Please make sure you're getting on iReady every day. Mayan, continue reading. And I will read, and I'll let you know how my book goes. All right. Thank you. Bye. And I miss you.